I had sent out an email last night, but it's kind of late notice with the information on a recorded version of this presentation. And what we're going to try to do going forward is give folks a chance to look at that to kind of cover the basics. And then in these sessions, work more on anything you're stuck on or would like to walk through again. So it can be focused more on what you need to make progress moving forward. Okay, Carl, I see your message in there. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and start and kind of walk through things again today with everybody. But to do the order fulfillment piece will probably only take 20 or 30 minutes. This is really the last step and builds on the work you would have done or have done to this point in getting your zones ready to go. And so then that'll give us some time to focus more individually on anything you're stuck on the order fulfillment piece, or really anything. I mean, we can start back at the beginning and walk through any pieces of it that'll lead up to the order fulfillment piece. Let me bring this screen over here. What I had sent out last night and the link I'll send you will connect you to my YouTube channel, if you will, and it's a recorded version of this, and you can see it's got a little table of contents here, so you can just fast forward if you need to go back and look again at setting up the PDF viewer, that kind of thing, forward to 6 minutes. So that way you'll have that for reference and can go back to that as well. So that's kind of what I'll be working from today. So let me bring up my browser window here. So we're going to work in Chrome, and probably everybody's heard this already, but we do need to use the Chrome browser rather than Firefox or Internet Explorer. In particular, what we'll see today with generating the PDF reports definitely requires the Chrome browser, and it requires a couple of, or at least one setup step to be able to use the correct version of the PDF viewer. So I'm going to walk through that first. And so the way we're going to do that is up here in the address bar, like you'd type in an address, you'll start with Chrome : / and we'll go to plugins. And once you type that and hit return, it's going to bring up a screen that looks like this. It shows a list of your plugins. And the way you're going to want to have your browser set up is to have this one, the Adobe Acrobat Viewer, enabled. But out of the box, if you will, it's going to have the Chrome PDF Viewer enabled here, and it's going to look like this. So it'll have Chrome PDF in white and the grayed out Adobe Acrobat here. And so we'll need to switch that around. So we'll click the Enable link here for Adobe Acrobat, and if this box isn't checked, you'll click the Always Allowed, and that'll turn off this Chrome PDF Viewer. And if you haven't done this, as we found out from experience out here, when you try to generate the report, you'll end up looking at a white screen and nothing will happen. And so you'll want to use that as a troubleshooting step. If the first time you try to generate a PDF report, it's not working, you'll want to type this in and set up your plugins. I don't know of a way to do this from the Chrome menus. You just have to type it in this way. Again, I've got that in my video, but that's how you'll set that up. And then the other piece, if you've listened to any of Glenn's or probably the other guys, in terms of troubleshooting, is this clearing the cache step, and I'll walk through that here briefly as well. The cache is like a local copy of the files or the pieces that are put together so that your browser works faster, but sometimes if your PC crashes or something doesn't finish right, there's kind of corrupt versions of the things that are used. In particular, we've also seen this with the PDF reports, that if they're not generating, we've tried clearing the cache, and that has fixed the problem for us. So the way you're going to do that, over here it used to be a wrench, and now it looks like this little list here. It'll be in the upper right portion of your Chrome browser to do the settings, and you'll click on this and then come down here to settings, or you can go in through history, and it'll take you to it. So I'll click with history here, and it'll give us this clear all browsing data. So we'll click this button. It'll bring up a box that looks like this. The key one to have checked here is empty the cache. These other ones with the browsing history and delete cookies, I don't like to click that, you know, like for the banking sites and stuff. That'll keep some of my configurations there. And this has worked for me. So if you just have this empty the cache and you say from the beginning of time and then click this clear browsing data, it'll do that. You can see the little spinning circle here. Depending on how long it's been since you last did it, it may take a couple minutes. So that step of clearing the cache and making sure you've got the correct PDF viewer configured are going to be the two kind of key troubleshooting steps if you have any problems the first time you try to generate an order here. So with that, then we'll hop back over to Valytics. Now, the normal Valytics here is going to look like this, but what you'll want to use is the as you're trying out this and generating orders is called the UAT server, and that's user acceptance testing. So uat.zao.com, you type that in, it'll bring you to this login screen. We'll see our friends Calvin and Hobbs here, but after you've passed the login screen, it's going to look just like the regular Valytics server. What they do with the UAT server is each weekend clear off everything that's on there. So if you've done any orders in here, it'll get wiped out. It takes a snapshot then of the production server and reloads that. So you'll log back in and it'll look like it did the week before. So you can use this as kind of your test box, and it doesn't create orders that will eventually have to be deleted out as you're working. Sometimes during the week they'll put in a new feature or something. That doesn't happen too often here in UAT, but essentially it's going to work just the same as production. And so that's where we'll work today and create an order and show you how that process works. And it'll be your same login and password here. So I'll go ahead and sign in, and then that'll bring us to the normal kind of map screen that you typically see. And I'm just going to organize my control panel over here just a second. Okay. All right. So this is now how you'll start up in Valytics. It'll show you this map, and all the little money bags on here are orders that I've put in or have been loaded for me. And so in talking about how we'll do this order processing, there's really two ways that an order could end up in Valytics for us to fulfill. The one we'll look at today is an order that we'll put in. So for example, if you're testing this out yourself or demonstrating it to a local client, you want to show them what it looks like, take a property that they give you, you can do that and put that in here directly. Going forward, as we get clients, we'll allow them to enter orders for us, and so those could pop up as well, being entered directly from a client. But we'll look at it today for with all the steps of us putting in an order. And so right now on the map, you can see these money bags that show the orders that are already put in. If we click over here on the Orders tab up on the black menu bar, that'll show us another display of the orders that are in there. You can see a couple tabs here, by zone and by account. And by zone, then it's got my zones listed with the number of orders that are in there. By account, you can see this Zone Data Systems. These are ones I've put in myself. This Portfolio Viewer, actually I think these are ones that Harvey Hartman had put in as we were kind of doing a shakeout. But you know, we might see Bank of America or some other client name here, and so we'll be able to manage the orders this way through the through these tabs and focus on the ones we want to fulfill. Once we've got an order in here, we'll be able to highlight it and use the normal mouse click. I'm doing a left click here to show us the options with what we can do after we've put in an order. But let me take you first through the process of entering an order ourselves, and we're going to do that over here with this place an order button. So before I hit that, let me just pause here and ask if anybody's got any questions in terms of the overview that I've given so far. I'll get a sip here while we're waiting. So assuming everybody's okay with that, let's go ahead and walk through the process of placing an order. We'll click this blue button up here, place an order, and that'll bring up this box, this order entry box. Again, 3 tabs here, find an address, place the order, and then we'll get an order confirmation. And so to find an address for the subject property, we'll type it in the search box. This is actually going to work the same as this little search option that's up in the black menu bar, where you might just look for a property and check on some information about it, but it's going to be the same way here. You'll type in the address and you'll take your best shot at getting it right. If Valytics finds a perfect match, it'll go ahead and take you over to the second tab to place an order. If not, it will either say can't find it or give you some options if you didn't put in the full address, or there's a couple that could potentially match. So the one I'm going to look at today is 2360 Brush Glen. It's in San Jose. So let's see if this works. We type that in and hit search here. Well, so here we go. It has a few of them here. For whatever reason, it's presenting all these. I didn't put the way in, and if there's a Brush Glen way in place, it might put those, and there's some other properties here. But I can see right away this is the one I meant, Brush Glen Way in San Jose. And so I'll go ahead and click on that. Now that takes us now to the second tab, this place an order. So here's our property address, and now this is the key piece. This type is the type of report we're going to have it generate for us. ZVal we've got working today. I fulfilled one for a local client a couple days ago, and so we've got that all fine-tuned and working. The ZValue is kind of the next one that's in process, the alternative to a BPO, and these others above it are in various stages of being completed or tested. You can work on these and create reports, look at it. If you've got feedback, you can send that in to Glenn or through tech support. This Wells Fargo desktop, Service Link 2055, a retro. I've looked at the 2055, and that's got a lot of detail for the comps and the 1004 MC form that it can generate from the MLS data you've loaded. So this is an interesting one to look at just to see everything that's in Valytics that can be pulled out. The one we'll do today is a ZVal, and that's just going to be the real basic information, but it's the same idea. It's going to Valytics and pulling out the information that's there. It'll present it for us on a screen, and we can update or complete anything that needs to be done there. When we're on this tab, everything that has an asterisk by it is a required field. So the rest of these are optional. You can put in or not, depending on what you're using it for. Today, just for demonstration purposes, I don't even have to put in a number in the numeric fields. I can just put something in on all these with an asterisk, so we can go ahead and get to the next step here. Once you've got that filled in the way you want, and as you'll see, we can update it on the form if we make any mistakes here, we'll hit submit the order and click this button here. Okay, so that brings us to this third tab, the order confirmation. It says it's in there. It gives us a confirmation number. This used to be the same one, but now it's there's a different one that actually shows for the reference number, as you'll see here. So I'm going to close this, and this was over in my zone 632. So we'll look at this here. So it's reference number 3360. Here's our address. It says it's a ZVal. The status here is dispatched, meaning it was just sent to us, and it's less than an hour old. You can see here it gives you some other statuses, and we'll see these as we work through the report. You can save it if you're not done. When you're done, you can sign it. For now, it's going to still appear in the file list for you, and even after it's signed, if you wanted to go back and make some modifications for whatever reason, you can do that. As I indicated earlier, you'd hover over the report and you just do the normal left mouse click, and it'll give you some options here. This property detail, property score, and market balance, or generate the report. This is what we'll get to eventually, but if it's a market group you hadn't balanced for a while and you needed to update it, you could click here. It's just a shortcut. It would get you the same to the same spot as if you went up in the markets tab up here and did it manually, or use the search tab to see the property detail. The property score is actually kind of a custom screen, I think, where it'll show us the subject and the comps it's going to use. So if you kind of want a sneak preview of what's going to be on your report, we can click on this one. So if I click property score, we'll give that a minute and it'll bring us up here. So here's our subject, this 2360 brush gland, and then the comps it's got loaded up that it's going to use, and the predicted value. So that gives us a chance to double check things here, our adjustments and the rest of it. And so then we can look at that. If that looks good, we'll come back here, go back over to our order, and click Generate Report. So let's go ahead and do that and see how this works. So I'm going to click Generate Report. Again, that's just the normal mouse click. This step will take longer than probably most anything else you'll do on your computers. And in the past, it had given a little progress bar. We'll give it a minute here and see if it works. And I will say it does take a while. And now it's popped up. For some of the other reports, even longer. So I'd say, give it an honest 2 or 3 minutes, kind of worst case. But if nothing's happening, then you've got to go back and say, hey, let's see if I've got things set up right, the right PDF viewer, and clear the cache if we need to. But this worked for us, and so now we've got this screen, and this is essentially what you see is what you'll get. This is how the report will look when you print it out, with the exception of these couple buttons up here, the Validix Save and the Sign Report. So Validix Save means it's going to save it out to the server. So any changes you make, it will save for you, and you can come back and continue on. When you're done and you sign the report, same kind of thing. It'll save the changes. It'll have your signature there. You could deliver it, or if you need to go back and make some more changes, we'll go back to that unsign option. But this is where we'll start from. And so the ZVal report up here at the top, and you can just walk through this and review the information that's here. It's pulling stuff out of Validix, detached, gross living area, and the census tract and the rest of this. Again, any of this that we want to update, we can do on the fly. Same way here, it will come from your neighborhood description that you've put into Validix. If you've done it, this information is calculated, and if you knew, okay, this 98 is really an outlier, it's really 65 is the oldest property there. You can change this manually. You can override any of these. This also comes from the information that you'll put in terms of the market description for your market groups. On this one, just to show you, I hadn't done it. We could go in and change this on the fly. We'd want to go back into Validix and get this done, and in a normal process, if I'm checking to make sure the market's balanced and stuff, I would have done that. But again, if it's a rush or whatever, we need to get it out today, we can go ahead and put those in automatically. I mean manually here, and then in the future it'll generate automatically. I'm going to pause here. At least on my side, it's saying there's some connection problems. Let me give that a minute here and see if that'll clear up.
While you're pausing there, Matt.
Yeah, Don.
The next, I'm getting a reverb here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine here, and my little warning thing went off, so I think our connection's okay. Go ahead, Don.
That next box with sales history, 3 years, all that. Valix, does that populate it automatically?
It does. I've seen it do that, and so it would say MLS or fairs here. So it's pulling that in correctly. So this one hadn't sold, but it will put it in if it's there. I've seen that work.
Can I jump in here real quick? Because I did a little research.
Yeah, hey, Glenn.
Don.
Yep.
As long as you have uploaded MLS sales back 3 years, it will bring them in. Like here, we've got 20 months worth. So it'll pull those in, but you might have to research that as the appraiser, and you can see that right in public record.
Yeah, I was getting some static from you there, Glenn, but I think everybody heard. You can load your MLS data back as far as you want. It will report fairs, public record sales, so you might see a foreclosure action or some private party transactions in there as well if they aren't in the MLS. So at this point, any other questions then before we kind of finish walking through the form? Okay, all right. So this next comment is generated here automatically. It says 6 sales comparables because that's how many I turned on. The range that it found, a little bit wider than I'd like, but it says the 3 most relevant ones are shown below. And so we've got that and the basic information. Again, on this form, the ZVal, it's real basic, so there's no adjustments shown or anything like that here. Again, it generates this, the range that was used and where the final estimate's at. Again, any of this you can override. If you say, okay, well, I know the market's a bit hotter than this, and it really should be 420, you can go in and change that. You'd probably want to put some commentary in there, and here again you can put more custom comments, anything you want up here. There's another little box down at the bottom that you can throw in if you have anything that would be more of a disclosure kind of statement, and that's what we'll see here as we move to the second page. So it's got the standard kind of boilerplate here and goes on down to the bottom of the form.
This is Bob. I have a quick question.
Sure, Bob.
I noticed that the dates of the comparables are kind of dated. So when it picks the best ones, it doesn't look for the most recent sales.
It does. I actually probably was misguided, but I took one of my older zones that I hadn't completed the market. This is the other piece, the market boundaries and the this information, just to show you that you could put it in, manually if you need to. So yeah, it will take the most recent information and the most recent comps and put those in. So this is just my UAT zone that I was messing around with that's not updated.
Matt?
Yeah.
If you manually add a comp, take out one of the 3 and add another one.
Yep.
It's only on this form that's being added into. It's not going back into Validix, is it?
Exactly. Yep. This is just, a snapshot that's pulled down. You can modify and get out the report. As we'll see when we go back and, see the report list, there's an option in addition to unsigned to actually start from scratch, where it would pull back in the 3 comps it likes. But again, any of this you can go in and override if you need to, You know, if you knew something here and you know, had to override it and didn't have time to figure out why Valytics wasn't pulling in the right one, you could go ahead and do that on the fly. In here.
So let me then just make a comment that if you are overriding something, the only thing that won't populate automatically is the proximity. So you need to be careful there, and you need to try and really figure out that closely, so that you have some accuracy when you're manually putting in a sale.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Any other questions here?
Show us how you sign it and save it.
Yep.
And all that.
Yep. Okay. So that's where we're at now. So here's this appraiser certifications. You can see the first 10. You could put something else in there if you wanted. There's a couple new features here that are going to put in a couple more for you as well. So if you have a designation or are in an association you want to have indicated, you can click that here. If you're an AI associate, it'll put in the training and ethics disclosures you need to make. And then we need to answer this question now with the new use PAP requirements. Within the past 3 years, I can say no, and it'll put that in here. So that's number 11, and I can still, I guess, have 11A. This may not be the best setup, and we put in these disclosures recently, so that's probably an enhancement I need to put in. Move this down here, so if I want to put in a number 15, I can do that. But anyway, that's how the form's built. Now we're ready, or if we're ready, we'll sign report. If we're not ready, we'll say save. Now I'm going to sign it, and then I'll show you how to get your signature in there if yours isn't in there yet. When I click sign, it's also going to put in the date of signature for us. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll click this. Now up here at the top, you can see it gave me a little status message, signed successful. I don't have my button up here anymore to sign, and let's go down to the bottom and make sure we did it. Remember, I changed the value here and a few other things, so that's all maintained here. And there it put my signature, put today's date, and we're ready to go. We can save this to our desktop as a PDF or print it if you've got a PDF printer or want a hard copy. So that's the completed report. Now, if I go back to orders, let's look at this one again. This is the one we just did, the ZVal, and so now it's signed. And now if I use my mouse button, in addition to those 3 we had before in the generate report, we've got the unsigned report and start from scratch. So unsigned just takes a signature off but maintains all the modifications we've made. Start from scratch is literally that. It wipes out everything we did, goes back to Valytics. As Don said, none of the stuff we did on the one-off report gets pushed into Valytics, and it pulls it in there. So now I'm going to show you how to load your signature if you hadn't done that. And this is a one-time step no matter where you're working on Valytics from. So if I load my signature here on my machine and I'm out of town and sign on someplace else, I can still sign the report. Your signature ends up being pushed out to the server, so it's there for you to use from anywhere. So the place we're going to put our signature in is under your name that's going to be here in the upper right, and there's a little drop-down arrow. User settings, and the one user setting we've got right now is this one to load the signature. You can see I've got my signature in here, but if I didn't, this would either be blank or there'd be a message. And so what we'll do is click this choose file, and that'll take us to our standard kind of Windows navigation box, and we can find our signature on the computer, you know, click it and load it if we need to. I'm not going to here, but that's how it would do it. If you're happy with the file you've chosen, you click submit. You can see down here in the gray there's a little bit of a description that says for the best proportions, make it 300 pixels by 100 pixels. Hopefully you've done this already for your appraisal software. If it's not that size, you can use Paint or your favorite graphics editing program. I use Snagit and adjust this. Glenn, I think, are you still on the call here? I'm going to ask you something, yeah, that came up last week because I had bumped into it. I had a guy who said he was trying to load his signature or load a revised version and it wasn't working. And I know I had bumped into that. I think you had to load it for me. But do you know if somebody has the signature in, will it work that they can override it, put in a new one, or do you have to do that as administrator?
No, they should be able to override it because we're just choosing another file.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure, and so I asked them to double check with you. I'm not going to load the LIA quote as my signature, so I'll just go back here. If something like that comes up, or you've done your best to troubleshoot and you can't figure it out, then you can open a support ticket, and Glenn will help you. That's this tab here, support.zonedatasystems.com. Click the support request, and it'll take you to a little box. You can put in a description of your problem or attach screenshots. So you can do it through this process. I think this is a little bit easier for Glenn to handle than just the email, because this otherwise he takes your email and types it in, and that puts it in the tracking system. So that's here at the support.zonedatasystems.com website. So now let me hop back over here. So I've taken you through generating a ZVal, doing all the steps with the signature, and showed you how to modify the form. So I'm going to pause again and ask if anybody has any questions at this point on the order fulfillment, order generation piece. We can tackle that, and then after that I'll just open it up if there's any kind of questions on the whole process from start to finish that we can talk through. So with that, let me open the floor and see if anybody's got any questions or anything they'd like me to cover. Okay, well that's a good sign. I will touch on, and we're going to add this to our training here on the order fulfillment piece. Right now I've shown you this through Valytics, generating an order and fulfilling it. There's some work on the rest of the plumbing, if you will, the billing system and that kind of thing that will tie together. And I think eventually it will all end up here in Valytics, but eventually maybe several more months or longer. And as Don knows, we're already selling the product out here, fulfilling orders. And so we're using the Utrack system, which had been in the works in parallel for quite a while. And I wanted to point out to everybody, if you're not yet set up in Utrack, you can do that. And in our support site, our intranet, which hopefully everybody has the link to, the Google sites, there's a link for Utrack OMS setup, and it's got the information here, some documents on how to set yourself up as an appraiser, and how to set up clients. We actually had a client out here in the San Jose area that did it themselves. They signed in, set up an account, and sent an order to us that we fulfilled through Utrack last week. So we know this is working. When you first sign on, I'll just go back here. It'll show you the home link. And then this third tab will be the one that is Utrack. So when you sign on, this is how it'll look on the intranet, and you can click here onto Utrack. Utrack is probably familiar to a lot of us. I've got a couple AMCs I work with where it looks pretty similar to this, and so I was just going to show you real quick, give you a snapshot of what it looks like. You'll create a login for yourself, and when you log in, it's going to bring up a menu system that looks like this. Here's the order we were working on. It'll show it here, and we can click on it and work on it. You can list the orders here that you're working on, and the setup, if you're not yet configured, you'll first go through this, and those documents show you how to do it here. And again, this is similar to what I'd done for some other AMCs. You type in your information here, licenses, attach your documents down here. The key thing for us with ZDS is this coverage area, and you're going to want to set up just the zip codes for your zones as your primary coverage areas here. And again, this will probably look pretty familiar, this primary area. So you can put in the counties that you cover generally, but you'll just want to have the zip codes for your zones where you click this this other box, the primary box. So I wanted to just point you to the Utrack system and the information to set yourself up on that. Yep. And then with that, we could look through some more of the forms, but I'll say, you know, once you've got this process down of putting in a test address, you can generate and look at a ZValue or any of these other reports just to kind of see what they're looking like. But certainly the ZVal is a key one we want to get everybody set up and ready to do, because that's the one we're actively selling and looking to get clients for. So I'll pause again then and just ask if there's anything that anyone would like me to cover, and at this point I'll open it up totally. If it's you know, market groups or the MLS import or anything else, we can certainly tackle that. We've got the rest of the hour here if so. So with that, any questions or anything anybody would like to discuss or have me walk through?
Matt, thank you very much.
Yeah.
For me, if you could go quickly again, the plugins, how to get that set up.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So this is one, Glenn, unless you know a different way, it's not under the menus here. You've just got to know the secret password here. Chrome : / just like you'd go HTTP : / plugins, one word, plugins. And then when you hit return, it brings you to this screen. It may look a little different if you've got some other stuff set up on your browser, but I think even when I first did this out of the box, they were up here kind of on this first page, and you're going to want to look for PDF. So the Chrome PDF Viewer is the default one that's set up out of the box, but that won't work for us. We've got to go down here to this Adobe one, and then just click the link to enable it and say always allowed. And so once you've done that, you're good to go on this screen. There's no kind of save or anything else. It just happens real time. So you want to do it that way. Chrome : / plugins.
One thing to point out, if you're using a different machine, let's say you're on vacation or somewhere, you've got to set it up. And the way I came across that was I just put a new computer in here, and I was teaching this class, and all of a sudden I couldn't save. So it's something to remember. If you're using a notebook or something else, you're going to have to set it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, good point. And I don't think you have to do anything in terms of downloading the Adobe software. It seemed like it must have been in there with Chrome somehow, or it goes out and gets it. So, you know, even the first time I did this, it didn't prompt me to download anything from Adobe. So I think this is all in the background. You just need to click the buttons.
Okay. And if you don't do this, then how do you realize that you need to do it?
When you generate the report, the PDF, it'll just be a white screen. And I'm thinking, Glenn, do you remember if there was any kind of error message, or did it just kind of sit there like it was thinking?
It was just thinking. Oh, and it finally timed out, of course.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was saying, you know, maybe give it 2 or 3 minutes. It can take a while the first time you generate a report, or if you're trying one of the longer reports to actually put the pieces together. But, you know, if it times out or if it's been 3 minutes, 4 minutes, then you'll want to go back and say, do I have the plugin turned on for Adobe Acrobat? And if I do, do the clear your cache step.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Don. Okay, anything else then folks would like to cover or you know, have me talk through anything you're stuck on, not sure about? We can spend a few minutes this morning.
Let me ask Glenn and Matt.
Yeah.
You guys around this afternoon's meeting?
I plan to be back. I've got a lunch appointment and then one more after that, but should be there for the QSI call.
Okay. So if I was to call on either of you to do maybe a 10-minute overview.
Sure. Yeah. You mean on this piece, kind of the order fulfillment piece?
Right.
Yep. Again, I'm open for any questions. If you will type your email address in the chat box, if you haven't done it yet, I'll send you a link to this recording, as well as my pre-recorded one with the table of contents and a kind of get started document that we put together out here for the appraisers. Okay, well, good. Again, hopefully this was helpful. You've got the online recorded version to go back to for reference. Certainly can call me. I'm glad to help, and Glenn through the ticket system, or just calling him directly if you're stuck on anything as well. All right, so I guess with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So thanks for attending today, and good luck getting your zones live and generating some revenue. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You bet.
The organizer has ended the session, and this